The missional faith community at St. Paul's is working with God to proclaim that all of us, including the disabled, are made in the image of God. We spent a year looking and listening, both within our congregation and out in the community outside our doors, and praying for our call to mission. And out of that year, we heard story after story of isolation and shame and rejection that came out of disability. So we also discovered that all of us would experience disability at some time in our lives, whether it's because of a genetic disorder or a developmental disability, or because of age or injury or illness. So we took a month for our entire congregation, the adults and the Sunday school children and our youth groups, and we started looking at gospel stories, like the story of blind Bartimaeus, who had been pushed off to the side of the road because of his disability. And we looked at images of God, images that didn't just include strength and power and might, but images of God that also included vulnerability and weakness. The culminating event for our series on disability and faith was we decided to walk in the Walk Now for Autism Speaks in Morris County, because we decided that it was only half of the equation to invite people into our church and to accept and to celebrate the disabled. But that second half of that equation was to stand with them and go out into the community and stand there and walk with them. So what does mission look like at St. Paul's? Mission looks like teenagers seeking out and finding those who are standing alone in the hallways in high school, or sitting alone at the lunchroom and sitting with them and inviting them in. It looks like grandparents who find new ways to speak to their children and grandchildren about the issues of disability. It looks like our organist and choir master teaching music lessons to children on the autism spectrum. And it looks like a church that welcomes and celebrates the disabled. That's what God is doing in our missional faith community.
The missional faith community at St. Luke's Episcopal in Montclair is working with God to embark on the next stage of our spiritual growth. Among the ways that we're doing this is that we are trying to re-engage our existing community and also to engage more fully with the broader community here in Montclair and the surrounding area. This started, actually 6 years ago when our rector, John Manel, joined us.
No, the missional community at St. Luke's is working with God to make disciples of all nations. It is clear to us in what we've been doing here for the past 6 years that this idea of making disciples and discipleship is the mission that we're called into doing and what we're called to do. We have seen this amazing growth, more than doubling in size over this time period, and people come here are hungry to know God, to experience faith, to see what Jesus is. And so among the incredible blessings of this place is the spiritual enrichment team that grew up and first helped me reframe the idea of spiritual enrichment. We used to call it formation. That's what in seminary they told us that's what you need to take. It's better. It's not just Christian education, it's formation. But this idea of spiritual enrichment, something that invites us in and allows us all to grow and expand through it. And so this team of amazing lay people came together, developed a whole series of programs, everything from monthly things to weekly things to 4 different kinds of Bible studies, 5 different kinds of Bible studies, got different people involved to lead them. And what we've seen is people who were not engaged in other ways get more deeply engaged with the gospel, get more deeply engaged with Christ, become more of the disciples that God is calling them into, and inviting other people into it. When you've got new people leading things, they invite different people in, and so it just becomes a sort of expansive learning community as we explore our faith, as we see where God is taking us, as we see all that Christ has to offer us.
The missional faith community at St. Paul's in Englewood is working with God on a new and exciting project that is the St. Paul's Choir School.
The choir school really began as a an initiative of some parishioners who over dinner were worried about the Englewood school system and said, well, we could do an after-school program. So it was put in Mark's hands, and he turned it into the choir school. So the kids not only get help with their homework and a place to come after school during the week, but they also are actually learning music theory and have turned into, almost instantly, into a very good choir. And they sing once a month on Sundays, and it's delightful to have them.
Out to the greater community to provide the structure of a choral program that will offer, certainly, and is offering music education, music theory, ear training. But I think more than that, the choir offers students the possibility of working together as a team, of developing a sense of self-discipline and a sense of pride. We recently sang for the Englewood Christmas tree lighting ceremony, which is a lot of fun. But the kids came away from that understanding that the choir was fun for them, but they were also being ambassadors for St. Paul's and for the St. Paul's Choir School. And they were learning the sense of service to the community through singing.